sharecropping business. We was young. There was 15 of us, sisters and brothers. We rolled up crops, sharecropping. We made 39 bales of cotton, and he advanced us like $30 a month for 15 kids. And at the end of the year, they took the cotton and said if us had to make one more bale, us have paid off. I ain't never been able to figure that out yet. How 39 bales of cotton wasn't paid, $110, and then us get money out of it.
The legacy of slavery lives on in the sharecropping system. No matter how much the farmer yields, he's forever indebted to the landowner. But with a spirit of determination and a love for the soil, Reverend Alistair Charleston eventually leased land and continued farming.
We're going to plant some of it because we don't want it all to come off at one time. We'll plant some these first 2 weeks, and then we'll wait.
That's his life. He loved doing that. That was one of the things that brought us together.
We have a new
he would help me to see the beauty in the plant growing and the health in eating off the farm. And he would show me that that's the way God had planned for us to make a living, you know, in the first place. That was God's plan. And Alistair have a way of relating the farm to the Word of God that is just amazing, magnificent the way he can do that. He can just show you God's plan, and everything that grows and lives, he can show you that it's in God's plan.
And oh Lord,
and oh Lord,
let your will be done.
oh let your will be done.
And oh Lord.
It was on a Saturday, December 1976, when I was on my way to this place to find out what my calling was all about and to find out what did I have to do. And this is where I remain, you know, by this big oak tree.
And oh Lord, let your will be done.
I said, Lord, what is you want me to do? He said, preach my word. I said, Lord, I'm not prepared for that. I don't have what I need to preach your word. He said, but I will teach you that.
My mother cried.
And I bowed down on my knees, and when I looked, the cloud was so dark, it looked as midnight, and I couldn't even see my hand before my face. And then when I looked up, I said, Lord, I don't know what I need to do. He said, preach the word. When I looked up, no darkness, all was daylight, and the sun shining so bright.
And every day in my life,
Let your will be done.
oh let your will be done.
Every take my life.
And every day in my life.
Backbone to yes, I told the body, ain't God all right? Real bone said, oh brother, don't forget about me, cause I shield and protect the heart and the long. Yeah. All right, now look at my plant, growing green and beautiful. One day, oh, you all gonna be all right. Ain't God all right?
And ever since then, I've been preaching, teaching, living it, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Ooh, I wish you could feel what I feel. I just wish y'all could feel what I feel.
Will be done.
Amen. God bless you all.
For more than 20 years, he's preached the gospel. Through his ministry and his work with the Federation, Reverend Charleston teaches black farmers how to keep their land.
If you ever crop to come over here, we need it.
It's important in this story to know that at the turn of the century, 1920 was the high point of black land ownership in this country. There were about 1 million black people engaged in agriculture, and they owned 15 million acres of land. By 1960, that had declined to about 200,000 people and 6 million acres. And by the 1990s, it had declined to under 20,000 people and less than 2.5 million acres. And the Federation would say that black people are losing 1,000 acres a day, even still today, in many communities across the South.
I feel like I come this far by faith. Faith is my evidence of the thing that I hope for, the evidence of the thing that's not seen. But by faith, I kept working it.
Dear Diary, I need these words. I need this remembrance of inconceivable strife to help me down this unbending highway scorched by the midday sun. I need these tales of hundreds of years of systematic oppression against millions of black bodies. I need these sad work songs to lift me up on my feet and raise my spirit so that I may walk another mile in honor of my heritage and in support of myself.
Jesus told the disciples, show me your faith. My faith in the farm business. I show what my hands can do by what I think. And that gives me the inner strength to learn, to enjoy, to love what I'm doing. And farm is something I do love every day.
By the time the Pilgrims had made it to New Orleans, they had been touched by extraordinary people of faith and changed by the history they had learned. But they were exhausted, and their money was running out. Their faith was put to the test.
So we traveled through Cuba and Jamaica and Haiti.
Where are you? In Port-au-Prince, Haiti. It's about 5:45 in the morning. We should be leaving today, hopefully. Some of us have to take the bus. The poor people have to take the bus to the Dominican Republic and fly to Puerto Rico. That's my burning question every single morning. Where are we sleeping tonight? It's always up in the air, but it's gotta love it.
Once we left the United States, our energy, our resources, our spirit was not winding down, but becoming, in a sense, kind of depleted.
We've already incurred additional expenses, feeding, trying to house, transportation back and forth. We're on a limited budget. We don't have any more money. We're out of money.
There was no money in the pilgrimage coffers. We were supposed to be in Senegal, in Dakar, January 1999, and we had no money to get there. No boat, no money for plane fare.
We were pretty wiped out. We were wiped out emotionally, physically, and financially. We needed to stop and regroup and think about what it is that we're doing, what it is that we need to do to get ourselves to Africa. Because that was the whole idea of this pilgrimage, is to take this journey back all the way to the mother continent.
We did end up camping out in this place called Piñones, which was the place that Africans were, we didn't know this originally, that Africans were brought to during the slavery times. And it's infested with these little bugs.
We were in the middle of one of our intense meetings with the pilgrimage, and the meeting was not going well, and we had been there for about 5 hours, sitting outside, being eaten alive by these little tiny bugs in Puerto Rico. And my daughter, I just watched her get more and more tired and frustrated.
Emotionally, I was all over the place. And I was feeling sick and homesick and tired, and Money was like running out.
I went to bed, and when I got in the tent, my daughter and I were sharing the tent. She was crying her heart out. And I just held her in my arms, and I said, you know, what's going on? What's the matter?
It was raining, and I was wet. And I was just like, Mommy, I want to go home. I think I'm finished. I can't do it anymore.
I was like, baby, I'm sorry. I can't make it easy for you. It's hard, I know. But you have to go all the way, because the day that you committed to this pilgrimage, you didn't just commit on a piece of paper. You didn't just commit to me and all these other people. You didn't just commit to yourself. You committed to your ancestors.
So when the journey's in Puerto Rico for about a month, some people are going home to go raise money. Some people are going forward to Africa prior to the group getting there. I remember I was reading often at that time a passage that talked about faith. It talked about the fact that as people of faith, things are not promised. But that doesn't mean that you don't have faith.
You can have faith without being a religious faith. Faith is the notion that somehow you can muster the courage to step out into the unknown and still sustain yourself, or be sustained.
Faith arises to answer for you a meaning that seemingly escapes you.
So that when we think of faith, there's so many different forms in which faith is manifest. Because the opposite of faith is despair.
So it's a tension that you never get rid of. As soon as you see faith as overcoming the contradiction, then you need a little bit more faith, you know, to realize that pretty soon it's going to emerge again. So faith emerges constantly, coping with the contradiction. And at the same time, these contradictions is what challenges faith, makes it get stronger and stronger and stronger, so that you feel that you can cope with whatever comes before you.
Dear Diary, maybe in these moments we have recommitted to the struggle, the journey, the struggle within ourselves to work through our conditioning, to examine and confront our racism, to give of ourselves to each other, and to love beyond all else. Maybe we have rediscovered our good and set aside our fears.
It would be some time before Soul reached Senegal. After being stalled for a month, the others found the resources to complete the journey. They were 1/2 their original number. Ingrid and Rainer were among them. They'd walked for 8 months, for more than 1,900 miles, through rain and heat and wind, on pavement and through brush. Near the end of their journey, the group was mostly black. They walked on, believing that their faith in their mission would prevail.
In the African part of the pilgrimage, African Americans came more into their own as leadership. Part of it was that Myrna became the prayer leader. The Buddhist prayer in the morning prayer they still chanted for 15 minutes, but then they moved into a circle. Myrna put on the kente cloth and offered a prayer from the African tradition and poured libations.
I pour libation this morning as we praise the supreme omnipotent God.
The spiritual balance and the spiritual energy of the pilgrimage had changed dramatically and become more Afrocentric.
As they reached the island of Gorée off the coast of Senegal, the racial issues between blacks and whites remained unresolved. But their hearts were full with the ancient faith that has sustained black people since the days of slavery. A faith that knows no race, no creed, no color. The faith of the human spirit.
Faith does not just come out of the sky. Faith emerges in the context of a people struggling to find meaning in life. So faith is not a set of doctrines. Faith is a search for meaning.
At the island of Gorée, the pilgrims circled the slave house, each wondering how this journey might end.
Ingrid had been working to make this ceremony at Gorée, and it had really been in Ingrid's heart from long, long before.
While they were doing the walk, I was inside the slave house creating a sacred space. And I'm waiting for the pilgrims to come. And I could hear the voices getting closer, coming back towards the slave house.
The front door was unexpectedly locked. So we had to walk around the side to the back. When we got to the back of this slave house, it was this power just started coming from everywhere.
And so I went to the door of no return, and I looked outside. And it was the most heavenly sight to see all of my pilgrimage family standing out on those rocks with their African brothers and sisters.
To look up and to see my mother in the door. I just climbed up and she just hugged me.
And we all, one by one, went back through, bringing back with us the prayers and symbolically bringing back our ancestors with us to the places which we were taken.
And we just celebrated the entire evening until it was pitch black. We read the names from the scroll.
Elizabeth Williams.
We called those names because we promised that we would call those names in African atmosphere.
Eldridge Roundtree.
And these were African ancestors as well as European ancestors.
Mrs. Cleveland, Estelle Biggs
Towards
Wright.
the end, I remember my mother saying, you know, is there anyone else who would like to offer a prayer? You know, at this time, just step forward. And at that moment, the lights on the island went out.
And we all just stayed silent. And we said, no, that's the ancestors talking to us. They're saying no. And I really believe they were saying, job well done. We don't need to say any more.
God is a Negro.
If you see my Savior, tell him that you saw me. When you saw me, I was on my way.
We as a people will get to the promised land.
We who believe in freedom can
not rest.
All right.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
The journey continues at PBS Online. Learn more about the people of faith featured in this program and explore an interactive timeline spanning 3 centuries. All this and more at pbs.org. To order this program on DVD and video cassette for educational and institutional use only, or to purchase the companion book, call PBS Video at 1-800-PLAY-PBS.
Coming up next, discover what faith-based groups are doing to save America's youth in some of our most troubled neighborhoods. God and the Inner City is coming up next here on GPTV.
The Ford Foundation, the John M. Olin Foundation, the Bodman Foundation, and the Randolph Foundation.
And it's just a little thing with some Dominicans. Now, by the time we get down there, they'll probably have split.
Gene Rivers is working the streets of his neighborhood, the Four Corners section of Dorchester, just outside Boston.
How you doing, man? You all right? So did you get straight on that thing?
Yeah.
Where you working?
YMCA.
So they hooked you up? Yeah. All right, man. Put that rag on your head, man.
Rivers is a Pentecostal minister who has dedicated his life to serving the poor.
Okay, we got the crew. Gentlemen. Yeah, that's all right, man. Y'all legit, so ain't no problem. It's all legit, right? So you ain't got no problem, right? Don't worry about it, man. All you got is a Heineken, right?
Yeah.
So you ain't hurt nobody? Yeah, man, what's up, man? So how you doing, man? What's your name? No, my man right here.
Me?
Yeah.
Kenny.
What's that?
Kenny.
Hi, Kenny. How you doing, Kenny?
All right, now can you get that camera out of my face, man?
Okay, yeah.
The rough kid brings attitude, his adolescence, his anger and disappointment at the failure of the fathers. At the end of the day, this all comes down to the failure of the fathers. In the black community, the fathers failed the kids, and now we see the sins of the fathers being visited upon the second and third generation.
Rivers is dealing with the all too familiar problems of the inner city. Gang violence, drugs, teenage pregnancy. After 30 years and billions of dollars, big government welfare programs have failed these communities. Now some people are saying, let's try a faith-based approach, relying more on local ministers such as Gene Rivers.
What's up?
Though he's a minister, Rivers rarely mentions Jesus and never proselytizes. But that's not the only faith-based model.
We need you here at Teen Challenge, Lord. We need you in this.
Teen Challenge is a national Christian drug rehab program. They believe that to kick drugs, you need to actively seek God's help, His love, His forgiveness.
And that you will bring about the change that they need in their life.
Expressions of faith are woven throughout the program, unlike Gene Rivers' work.
Give them the strength to finish, to do what they have to do, to change. In Jesus' name.
Gene Rivers and Teen Challenge are two wings of a new faith-based social movement. Can they transform these inner cities? Are they more effective than the big secular government programs?
We had 300 jobs to give out this summer. How come you didn't get one?
Because there's no way, how we supposed to know that people got jobs to give like that? When we go there, we label them minority, you know that.
No. Everybody that want to do a JOB got a JOB, man.
We
For real.
minorities out here.
Ain't no minority. I ain't no minority. Look, I'm a Negro, you a Negro, man.
Yeah, we minorities.
No.
What you gonna do on my record if I try to get a job? Yep, see, that's what I'm telling you.
You know what? I'm gonna take all the dice. Number one, on the record. We could advocate for you if you got issues, so that if you wanted to get a job on the entry level, we could do that.
Believe it or not, I done hit Filene, Staples, Marshalls, Gap, Old Navy, anything you can think of off the top of your head.
I'll tell you what, I will personally take you up in the joint.
All right.
All right? You suit up, man. I mean, we ain't gonna do the FUBU, man.
I don't go
you know what I'm saying?
I go real professional.
Okay, I said what we do, we go up in there with the gear correct, and we do it, man. All right, man, because if you was, in fact...
Gene Rivers has been working these streets since he dropped out of Harvard in 1983.
No, I got that, but no,
He led a group of fellow Christian students to this part of Dorchester, then the most violent section of Greater Boston.
Y'all know what I'm saying, right?
They converted an old Victorian home into their headquarters, the Ella J. Baker House.
Good morning, Baker House.
The Baker House staff, who all live in the community, run programs from after-school study to computer training, which serve a diverse clientele. Those in need of counseling just drop by.
Nah, I was trying to build a little foundation for myself, man, but they told me to come see you, man. Didn't you see me before? You look like someone I saw before. I'm here for some help. You know, it's all good. It starts now. I'm here, bro. You get to do no more than show up.
Every Wednesday, Rivers convenes an unusual meeting of local faith-based and secular
with law
groups.
enforcement. This is an ongoing kind of strategy session to focus on very specific things: youth violence, trends, patterns, trade information with law enforcement regarding what's going on in the city now. We initially focused almost
in 1992, after a murder in a local church, Rivers and other ministers began working with the police, parole officers, and other social service agencies to reduce crime. This was a new idea. Before then, most of the black clergy had viewed the police with suspicion and hostility.
And when they are put out to follow up, to support the drug habit, they're out in the street selling themselves, and you're seeing this at a younger age. I mean, you can go on...
What makes what has happened in Boston unique is that we have addressed one of the most enduring, apparently intractable problems, which is the issue of race in law enforcement. How will black people be policed? Who will police black people? Under what terms, politically and socially, will the mandate to provide public safety be executed? And what is unique in Boston is that black clergy played a singular role in de-racializing law enforcement.
The new approach worked. In 1990, there were 73 youth-related homicides in Boston. By 1995, and for the next 2.5 years, there were none.
This individual previously threatened to shoot a classmate. We're going to just check on...
This amazing drop in crime has been dubbed the Boston Miracle.
Maybe the talk, he probably just could have, you know how some kids probably say they're going to do something, but he really, we just got to find out exactly what he's doing, if he really meant that.
Got it.
First name was Rashad.
Okay.
So Revisit, right?
She was in there?
Okay. It's a revisit too, so...
Revisit, we've been here before.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Reverend Rivers, and these are officers from the Boston Police Department, Singletary, Israel. Just like to talk to you for a couple of minutes. Your son's not in trouble, but we just want to check him to make sure that he's doing okay.
That relationship, I think, of the ministers working with the police has been successful because each side has played its role. When the ministers, for example, tell you, look, there's an alternative here, You don't have to end up, you know, going through the juvenile justice system. This diversionary program, this program that can keep you, you know, out of the jail, is real, and it's something you ought to really consider. But of course, if you don't want to consider it, there is an alternative, and the alternative is sitting right here, you know, wearing that badge.
Then if you don't take it, you can never say nobody never told me.
The good way or the bad way.
Yeah.
You're coming out here positive.
That's right.
You don't act well.
No drama.
Lock you up.
Yeah. But I tell you, if you don't take this part, we won't be bringing Reverend Rivers with us next time at 5:30 in the morning.
Hey, too? ¿Cómo te llamas?
Sashadi.
Sashadi, okay. Did I say that wrong? Did I mess that up? Give me a child, show me how to say it.
The problems we face in America are problems that cannot be solved with secular solutions alone. We have spent billions and billions and billions of dollars on the war on poverty, and we lost. And the reason we lost is that we haven't found an adequate replacement for a stable nuclear family. So anything we can do to encourage the formation of stable nuclear families, anything we can do to repair damaged stable nuclear families, anything we can do to help local congregations and synagogues and mosques try to substitute for stable nuclear families is going to massively benefit the children in those families.
Ministers from other cities, like these two from Memphis, often visit Rivers to learn how to apply his techniques at home.
This one of the sharpest young dudes in the neighborhood. What's up, baby? How you doing, man? My boy here. Sullivan. Tony Barrett. We're from Memphis. And I'm saying, Tony got a lot of the young people, got them in the basketball team, and did enormous work. We work with him, he in turn worked with the kids.
That's it.
Oh, yeah. No,
that's true.
Because you got natural leadership in the neighborhood.
That's true. Right.
But you got to get to them. I mean, when you go back and you look at 88, 89, 90, 91, when it was shotguns and machine guns and bazookas and, you know, AK-47s.
About 7 up.
No. And see, I would come out because the kids were here, and most of these adults in these triple-deckers, they were hard-working people that would never come out to talk to these kids because these kids ran the neighborhood. His crew and the dudes were a little older than him ran this neighborhood. And I would come down to the park all the time with them. In fact, I got them summer jobs. That was about 6 years ago, 6, 7 years ago.
Cool, yeah.
I'd get them summer jobs, you know, and they'd work and they'd clean up the park.
Can I ask you a question, Tony? What helped him gain your trust and make him be somebody that you could really confide into, look up to?
Well, he didn't lie to us. You know what I'm saying? He said he would help us get jobs. That's what everybody wanted at first. When we first met him, we trusted him with that. When he helped us with the jobs, then we really started trusting him.
Okay.
Anybody put some money into your pocket, you're gonna trust him after that.
Okay.
And he was always cool, you know what I'm saying? From day one, he took us out, did things nobody else ever did for us.
That's cool.
Took us on all types of trips. You remember, Rev?
Oh, yeah. And the deal is, we treated these kids just the way we treated our own kids.
Yeah.
That's key.
Tony got treated the same way.
Rivers was at the White House on January 29, 2001, when President Bush signed an executive order creating the Office of Faith-Based and Community Initiatives. He named John DiIulio to head it. The president wanted to make it possible for organizations like Rivers Baker House to get government money.
We will not fund the religious activities of any group. But when people of faith provide social services, we will not discriminate against them.
The initiative ignited a firestorm of controversy.
To me, it's a simple constitutional issue. Government has to be neutral about religion. It can't promote it. It can't deter it. One thing, it certainly can't fund it.
This is The Connection. I'm Anthony Brooks. Bring on the churches, says President Bush. In many ways, it sounds like a sensible idea. Mr. Bush wants to make it easier for taxpayers to contribute directly to church-run social programs and to make it easier for these programs to compete for federal grant money. Connection listeners, should the government invest in the work of the faithful? Can it do that without playing favorites with religious denominations? And what about that constitutional separation of church and state? Pastor Rivers, let me start with you.
Yeah.
What about the taxpayer who says, I'm an agnostic, I'm an atheist,
Right.
I'm a Jew, I'm a Muslim, and you're a Christian. I don't want my tax dollars going to your sort of Christian view of the world.
Well, see, I'm not asking them to subsidize my Christian worldview, and I'm glad you raised the question, Anthony. I am not interested at all in anyone, any taxpayer supporting my religious ideology. And we're very, very careful. In the city and across the country, we have a reputation for a faith-based program that really is concerned with mobilizing a sacred institution to serve secular purposes. So we talk to Christians and secular folk alike and say, look, our end game is to save lives. As one magazine covers...
So let me just stop you here, though. Secular purposes meaning things like job training, things like
training,
court advocacy.
Food, court advocacy, counseling, gang violence mediation.
So the faith is the reason you do the work, it isn't the work itself.
Absolutely.
This notion of taking government money, are you beholden to government interests that you might not?
Well, in fact, in our case, we have segregated books. So
beyond the issue of the separation of church and state, the deeper question is about effectiveness. Do faith-based organizations work better than big secular government-run programs?
Falling through the safety net.
My faith tradition teaches me that there is a spiritual dimension to these issues that is not going to be met by government, shouldn't be met by government, can't be met by government, that we as Christians would say can only be met by God.
Somebody pray for me, and the only man took the time to pray for me.
Unlike Gene Rivers' programs, Teen Challenge doesn't get government money. It's a Christian drug treatment program with branches around the country. Since prayer and Bible study are woven throughout Teen Challenge, the government hasn't considered it eligible for direct support. Its goal is a spiritual transformation that is outside the scope of a secular program. In spite of the name, Teen Challenge is not primarily for teenagers, but for men and women 18 and up. It began in the 60s for teenage gang members, but over the years, the focus has shifted more to adults.
I mean, we care about you and all, but we can't help but to feel like you're here because you have to be here. I mean, you know, I get this letter and I get all these, you know, wonderful, wonderful stuff. Miss Teen Challenge, want to come home. And then I get to kind of the bottom line, and the bottom line is I have to be in Teen Challenge by 1/22/02 or I'm going to jail.
Well, that's not the reason I want to come back. The reason I want to come back is because I was out there, you know, this is my calling to be here. The Lord led me here for a reason. And I left, and, you know, ever since I left, my life's been basically a living hell.
Yeah, you're going to be mentally able to handle the load here. You know the schedule. You know, are you going to be able to handle it?
I still think the Lord, I haven't got the gift of the Holy Ghost yet. So I think the Lord's going to pull me this way.
Well,
and see.
The Holy Ghost doesn't have anything to do with it. It's about you.
Right.
It's about you and your decision to do right. Okay? It's not a lot of people believe about Teen Challenge. We have some kind of like magic formula. We have our direct connect. I have my direct connect with God just in my office, and as long as I get there, you know, God will be there and God will help me. But, you know, it's these guys who need to seek God and his help. Of course we teach his word. Of course we teach that he's going to be there to help you and that he is here to help the guys. But you have to make the effort. You have to take the first step. You have to want to change your behavior. You have to want to be clean. You have to want to be forgiven.
This is Larry's first day in the program, though he's been here before.
Welcome home, buddy.
Years ago, Larry's father, an addict, came to Teen Challenge but dropped out. Mike Zello knew Larry then, when he was just a boy visiting his father. Now Larry himself has become addicted to crack, but he's come to Teen Challenge for help.
Up the steps to a new life.
He's agreed to live here for 4 months, just working and studying, with only occasional visits from his family and zero tolerance for any drugs, even cigarettes.
Yes, you won't.
If he makes it, he will then go to Raresburg, Pennsylvania, the mountain, for another, more intensive 8 months. Most never make it that far.
These two guys share that closet, so these 6 got the big one in the hall. All right? You shouldn't need to go into that room at all for anything.
Zello's relationship to Larry is unusual.
All right, buddy, there's a couple more hangers.
He took me in as a son. Maybe when my dad was on drugs, and my dad came through the program.
And these guys.
And if it weren't for Pastor Mike,
what are we doing?
I don't know what I'd be doing right now.
3 years for life.
I might not even be here. I might be dead right now. I didn't understand until it happened to me, because my dad did the same thing. And I didn't understand why he had to leave. So why couldn't he be a man and take care of his responsibilities? But I have to learn how to be a man.
Well, we got some time to make up here, and I just want you to tell me, let us know what's been going on since you were 17 here. We got 6 years.
When I moved to North Carolina, that's when all the bad started happening. Fighting in school.
Yeah, you got a charge, right? I remember that.
I got a bunch of charges. Fighting, assault.
Punch that kid, right?
Yeah, punched a bunch of kids.
All right, now let's talk about the drugs. When did you start getting high?
I started when I was 18. Started smoking crack and marijuana together. Last week, the last 2 weeks, I spent about $4,000 in the last 2 weeks.
Why are you here? What happened?
I just cracked up. This is it.
What happened?
I just let it take my job, take
fired.
everything.
You got fired. Did you go to jail?
Yeah. My serious charge was for the 2 counts of shooting in the occupied vehicle in the city limits, where I almost killed some people and almost killed some babies.
You were shooting at people, right? Okay, so basically, after you got fired, you went crazy. You just started smoking full time. How old is your son? 4. Is he with his mom?
He's with his grandmother.
What's up with mom?
I don't know.
She's a mess.
When his grandmother took him from his mother.
That was it. She didn't want him to be around you.
And it's like everything just happened. The devil just attacked me all at one time.
Lost your son, lost your job, lost...
My mother's doing cocaine.
Here we... Your mom's doing cocaine? Your mom's doing cocaine? When did your mom start doing cocaine?
My sister called her in her room. It's about 2 months. It's been about 2 months ago doing cocaine in her room. I picked her up and threw her on the ground. My mother.
You know what's happening here, don't you? This is the parable of the prodigal son. That's literally what's happening here right now. You're coming home. You're coming home. You're coming home to here. You're also coming home to God. And you've been gone from him for a long time. You're going to get your life back, and we're going to help you get it back. You believe that? Larry, you know me. You know we're going to help you get your life back.
That's why I'm here.
It's going to be better than it ever was. It's going to be better than it ever was for you. Way better. Because we're going to teach you how to live. How to be a man.
If it weren't for Teen Challenge, and you might, sometimes, at home, I go back and look at pictures of you and the family together with me, and pictures of when we built the church, and the letters that you sent me. I don't know what I would do if I didn't even have that just to look at sometimes.
It's all right, man. All right. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. I love you. I do believe that God created every person, me, all of us, with an emptiness, a certain vacuum inside. And when I explain it to these guys, I explain it like an empty cup inside of your heart, in your soul. And the drug addict fills that cup with drugs. The alcoholic fills that cup with alcohol. And when it's full and when they're high, they have peace. But we believe that God made that empty cup so that only he can fill it. And then when he fills it, the desire to use is gone because there is peace. There's no reason to use. The reasons to use have been taken care of. God has taken care of them.
I'll get back to eat every night. All right, Larry. I'll get there.
Unlike Teen Challenge, which removes its people from their surroundings, Gene Rivers is immersed in his community.
We got the number on here, right?
Do you think we can get jobs soon?
Yeah, I think so.
His day is mainly secular, solving his people's mundane problems.
Well, see, they're hiring people. See, the problem is, they weren't hiring people, we will have a problem, but they're hiring people.
And Rev, anybody, any of those jobs that you call, I'm not trying to brag or nothing, but I get great references.
Well, I got you. All right. So, done. Can I hang on to these?
Yes.
All right. So...
Please don't forget me.
No, you know what? Listen, y'all. You know what?
I want to work.
No, I know you do. You know what? I'm going to do this. So, next time I see you, you ain't going to say that to me. Oh,
Reverend Rivers, anything that I can do in this community to help you?
Anybody that's accessible and local does this. If you go to Baltimore, Maryland, and you talk with Pastor Frank Madison Reed, he's going to be a padrone, right? If you go to Bishop Charles Blake on Crenshaw Boulevard in South Central, he's a big padrone. No, he's a godfather, right? He's real big, right? I mean, and that's the genius of black churches, is that geographically we're there. You live close to the problem. You serve the needs and the interests of these folk. Do you guys have any more jobs?
This is the Back Bay, a long way from Gene Rivers' part of Dorchester. Boston Magazine has invited the town's movers and shakers to hobnob and schmooze while raising money for charity.
No. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So we're going to talk. I'm going to give you and the Irishman.
Rivers is here politicking. To serve his community, he needs to wheel and deal with Boston's Brahmins.
Nice to meet you, ladies. Now let me shake your hand again.
He also aspires to lead a national movement.
When I sit down and I talk with the folk at the national level, they say, right now, Rivers, the civil rights movement's over. Then the question for us is, who is going to be the post-Jackson, post-civil rights leadership? Oh, Doc, it's a whole new gig, man. You sit down with Maxine, you sit down with the Congressional Black Caucus, Doc, well, that's all old.
Some of the men Rivers serves are behind bars. After they're released, Rivers would like to see them come to Baker House in the first 48 hours. If they're not in a program by then, they will almost certainly return to prison.
We see some patterns. A lot of brothers come out, come right back in. And we want to help brothers reduce that.
We're trying to, for people in the public who don't know what you need, this is to say, okay, what brothers need for real. On the other end of that is, what are you willing to give up to get that? Why should you be let out? Convince me, fake like I'm the parole board. Why should you be let out?
Because I feel that I could be, I've become more responsible. Since being here, this is my 5th time coming through these doors. I've been coming through these doors.
You've been here 5 times. Now you're gonna shoot responsibility at the parole board.
I'm gonna kick responsibility to you because for the simple fact that while I was out there, I was not really responsible for the people around me.
The parole board ain't going for that.
I understand.
So convince me why you should be let out other than you said the parole board, I'm responsible now. They're gonna like, yeah, and why should you be let out? I'm gonna risk on your word.
Because I'm willing to do what I need to do to become a productive member to society.
In other words, everything you said you're supposed to say. And you done said it 5 times before, right? Your Honor, you know, if you, bada bing, bada boom, right? It really is, at this level of the game, your call.
I mean, sometimes you got people, I mean, you're going to parole and they don't even give it to you.
How many times have you gotten out?
I've gotten out 5 times.
So they should
I'm from Los Angeles, and I came here and doing time ever since I've been here.
So, as if somebody's kidnapping you off the street. You know what I'm saying? Now,
no, I did the mistake. I did a mistake. it ain't a mistake or crime. Crime ain't a mistake. That's intent. Right. You know what I'm saying? A mistake is, oops, you bumped into somebody. Right. I'm saying you ain't did no mistake. Okay. It's a crime.
Okay,
Let's keep it real. No. I'm coming from doing 14 years myself.
The reality is that if you really pay attention, they're looking for someone to explain to them how to live their lives. And they have to be taught. People have to be taught accountability. People don't have, I mean, that's not genetic. People have to be taught accountability. I told him in front of his mother, I said, you need to be surrendered. He needs to go because he's out of control, he's spoiled.
I mean, this boy, like you said, he just doesn't get it. 314, he's on for surrender because of the new offenses. But what we'll do is between now and then, obviously, we'll start looking into the case. That's not a problem. We can do that.
Thank you, dear.
No problem.
Bless your heart,
It was nice to see you.
No,
Haven't seen you for a while. Where you been?
Child, I've been running. Look, I'm trying to, you know what?
Extract the money.
No, you're tracking the money, honey. You got it, girl. That's exactly what I'm doing.
What are you doing down here? Right down. You got to be kidding me.
Oh, yeah. No.
Do you know that he's on me? And I showed up at his house the other day, and it reeked.
I wasn't supposed to come in that day.
I told you to come in.
And what happened when you called my urine, when you called the place?
You had it
my urine
flushed.
clean.
Someone was
had it flushed. I had nothing flushed.
Son, let me tell you something.
Stop.
Excuse me.
You don't stop. I already spoke to your supervisor.
No. Let me tell you something. No, hold on. Son, let me tell you something. No. Let me stop this right here. Tone wrong, son. You have to speak to her in a manner that is respectful and courteous, right? You hear what I'm saying?
Shouldn't I get the same, though, sir?
Okay, yes, you do. Now, all I'm saying is that there's some issues you need to square away. When she says, place is reeking.
Reeking?
No, I got it. Okay, no, listen. No. So, all I'm
Why
saying...
am I going to lie, Nathaniel? Why am I going to lie?
Okay,
huh?
please, man, do the smart thing.
Seriously, why am I going to lie about you? Did I turn around and you end up going to jail but only went for a short period of time? And I said, it's only a dope slot. Come on, Nathaniel, you can do this? Have we had this conversation? Okay. Then when I show up and I have 2 police officers with me, and we knock on the door and there's no smell, and then the door opens up and there's a whiff, and then eventually another whiff, and the 2 cops behind me are like, Jesus, we can all get high here. We had to stand there.
We'll talk about this later, all right? Let's go. All right, Miss Pierce, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bless your heart. All right, we'll follow up on the other thing. I got it. Good looking. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. End of story. She say jump, you say how high. She say fee, you say what color. All right? No, but you don't.
And it's like she threatens to lock me up all the time, and there's nothing I don't do that I'm not supposed to be doing at all.
I understand that. All I'm saying to you, partner, is that you got your future ahead of you, right? You're 19 years old, right?
Yeah, going to school and everything. She doesn't care about none of that.
I understand, but you know what? In a situation like that, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I don't care what she say. She jump on your grill. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Like a soldier. You know, look, it's one or two things. You either a man or a woman, you either a sissy or a soldier. Talk to me. Now, you're a sissy, then I'm gonna stop bothering you. All right, Tim, that's all I'm talking about. You a soldier, I say, yes, sir, no, sir. I don't care what she says. You know, she says your mother kisses black elephant butt. Yes, ma'am.
That's what she's saying.
All right, that's all I'm saying, money. Look, I deal with a whole bunch of people, some of whom I bite my tongue. Now, I could pimp smack them if I wanted to, but I ain't gonna get no success like that. Negroes made me tired, man. I'm tired, man.
I understand. I feel you.
All right, that's all I'm saying. I
appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, I got the
Well, I certainly know that Gene Rivers has gotten good marks, high marks, for reduction of crime in some neighborhoods in which he is active. It's also true that in almost every major American city, youth crime has been going down in the last 5 years for a variety of reasons. Is he doing a better job than Chicago, Los Angeles? Really, the only way to tell is to do the kinds of studies nobody seems to want to do, and that is the ones that compare fundamentally secular programs with fundamentally religious programs and see where the best outcomes arise.
What we do need is, better classical sort of demonstration experimental research here. You'd expect me to say that as a card-carrying social scientist, so I said it. But it is really true. We do need a couple of big studies to see whether, if you can, other things being equal, these organizations are somehow more effective. Such evidence as there is in fact a positive, not uniformly positive, not beyond anybody's skepticism or reasonable doubt, but certainly a positive.
What's up, man? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, brother. Hey, brother, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Warren Brothers? Farron, let's go.
The typical day at Teen Challenge is highly structured. From early wake-up and prayers to work and study, then sleep again.
Oh, these guys aren't really morning people.
The issues that these men had kept at bay with drugs now return to haunt them.
Your drawers here? Yeah.
Guys who have been doing drugs for a long time are dreamers. They sit around, they smoke pot, they get high, smoke crack, and they talk about what they're gonna do. Oh, I'm gonna quit. Oh, this is my last. You know, they're always talking about what they're gonna do, but they never do it. They deal in the abstract. And so one of the dangers of a, faith-based program, a Christian program like Teen Challenge is, we'll dream about God. And so, that doesn't happen a whole lot here. It happens with a certain amount of guys because we don't allow it to. Obviously, we deal with reality here very strongly. We deal with reality. And we try to have guys to face their addiction. Have them understand you have real issues. You have real issues. Yes, you have some spiritual issues. You have some social issues as well. You have some mental issues as well.
All tools. This is the most important tool right here, the Bible.
Their regulated day of work and study challenges these men who had previously rejected normal life. They are relearning how to live.
Thank you. You're doing my chores. Yeah, they told me to keep busy, so I'm gonna keep busy. That's all right, man. I'll be right back.
The work details at Teen Challenge range from doing chores around the building to stocking the shelves of their thrift shop. What they earn goes to support the program, which is otherwise free to them. In addition, Teen Challenge is supported by private charitable contributions.
You're in my office because yesterday you had your bags packed. And I was worried about you. Whenever a man packs his bags and gets ready to leave, he's going to be talking to me in the next 24 hours about it. Why were you leaving?
I was frustrated. Frustrated a lot with the staff.
You ready to quit after 10 days?
Throughout the day, as crises arise, Mike Zello brings men into his office for counseling.
I'm shooting from the heart now. Ever since you've been here, you've been crying.
I've been crying for the last 10 days.
This is because your feelings are coming back. When you're drinking and you're drugging, your feelings are numbed. You're not in reality. And for the last 10 days, reality has hit you hard. And what I'm saying to you today is that God is able to help you. We are here to support you, and that God is here to help you with your feelings. He's here to help you with your emotions. He is here to lift the burden that's been placed on you now, since you're not numb anymore. Now that you're not numb, you have to think about your wife and how bad you hurt her and, the money and all the money you lost. All those things that we've talked about. It's too much for a man to handle on his own. You need God to help you. It's too heavy.
I just want to get my life together and just give my wife and give God what especially God, do the things that God want me to do.
Yeah.
And do the things that my wife want me to do.
For a long time, it's been you doing whatever you want to do.
Basically.
First of all, I don't think the Teen Challenge is for everybody. But I think that there is a certain number of drug addicts that come to a breaking point in life when they are absolutely tired and ready for change. These are the men who say, I'm sick of doing drugs, I want to stop, I'll do anything to change. I have the will to change, I just don't have the power to change. I can't do it. I've been just saying no since the 80s. But then every night I get high. I can't stop. Cocaine is too powerful physically for these men. And so, what we believe here is that if you have the will, then God has the power. And that's where we're different from a secular program.
Good morning. Have a seat, Larry.
February 7th at 1 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Let's see, how long have you been here now, Larry?
About 6 weeks.
6 weeks in?
Yeah.
You got into a fist fight here. You got into a fight, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't really a fist fight. It wasn't much.
No, it weren't much.
weren't much.
One of the guys kept touching me, and I told him not to, you know, and he kept hitting on me anyways, so I just had to give him a real mean look and let him know that if he touched me, yeah, he was just playing, but I was telling him I don't like being touched, you know. Hey, I was abused when I was little. I don't like other guys touching on me.
By who?
My mother's boyfriend.
This when you were young?
Yeah. This is when,
Before I met you?
No, this was around the same time, when I was coming in on the weekends.
You never told me. You're gonna have to work very hard to overcome some of these things that, you know. The question is, can you? Can you? But right now, we just gotta get you through these 4 months and learn the things that you came here to learn and deal with the issues in your heart that you know need dealing with. And I think the biggest issue I have seen in your life that has messed you up the most has been that anger inside of you. If you don't deal with it here, you're gonna probably go out and kill someone, Larry. You've already tried to kill someone. You got lucky that no one, you know, died in that car that you shot all up. You got lucky. You were trying to kill someone. So it's a miracle that you're here and not locked up in prison for murder. You know, all that hatred that you've had bottled up all these years has got to be dealt with. It's got to come out. How long has the guy he hit been here?
Mike Zello has dedicated his life to helping addicts and has been doing it for over 20 years.
You scared?
All right, Bernie.
Gene Rivers has dedicated his life to helping the poor in his community and is available to them 24/7.
Geographical proximity.
Unlike Mike Zello and Gene Rivers, most of us aren't willing to dedicate our lives to helping others. Victoria Harrington is a sales rep for a pharmaceutical company. She is also a mentor in the Amachi program for children of prisoners. She has committed to spend an hour a week with her mentee, Aja.
In the beginning of the program, when I first got Aja, both of her parents were incarcerated. Now, one of her parents is out. Her name is Desiree, that's her mom. And not just her father is incarcerated, so she still qualifies for the program.
Victoria, like the other 500 mentors in Amachi, heard about the program from her church, one of a network of 50 congregations throughout Philadelphia. But Big Brothers Big Sisters and Public-Private Ventures, two large secular organizations, run the program.
Hi, Aja.
John DiIulio turned his attention to the Amachi program soon after he left the White House.
You're getting bigger and bigger.
The motivation behind Amachi was to say, okay, we have this huge population of extraordinarily at-risk children in urban America. Nobody's getting to them. The churches are trying to get to them. What if we took a big, secular, wonderful organization, nonprofit like Big Brothers Big Sisters, partnered them up with the churches. Churches supply the mentors, the people of faith, the active match processes through Big Brothers Big Sisters. What might be accomplished?
They be telling the teacher I'm doing better. People don't believe I'm doing better.
Why?
Because last year, I used to go to sleep.
The relationships that develop may be informal and personal.
See, this time I'm passing tests.
That's great.
But John DiIulio set up the Amachi program so that results could be measured and evaluated.
PSATs, I take them next year.
Next year, okay.
Yeah.
We can start charging you up for that.
All the matches are carefully monitored and tracked by trained researchers.
So it's better now that Desiree's home, your mom?
Yeah. Well, actually, yes and no, because it's better on grandma. But she's crazy, though. She is.
What does it say to you if you grow up in a place where your mom or dad's been taken away from you for reasons you don't understand because they're incarcerated, you're told they're a prisoner or they're a criminal, and then you may have someone in the household who's not entirely capable of taking care of you, or there may be people around who are doing things that you know are wrong. And if you go to school, you go to school, but if you don't go to school, nobody particularly seems to much care. What does it say about your own worth? What does it say about whether people really love you and care for you?
All right, come on.
Let's everybody just sing happy with 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
The Ortiz family is celebrating Juan's 10th birthday.
Happy birthday, dear Juan. Happy birthday.
Ruben Ortiz is Juan's mentor.
Yeah, hold on, wish time. Hold on, he's got to make a wish.
Make your wish before they all blow
wish.
out.
When we celebrated Juan's birthday, I thought maybe, you know, it wasn't celebrated enough. And not only wasn't celebrated enough, it was rarely, if at all, celebrated. And so it's painful. That's the painful aspect of spending time with Juan, is seeing things that he's never experienced before, experience it with us.
Between that cement and the other cement, that's the goal.
Juan is in Amachi because his father had been in prison for selling drugs.
Okay?
I don't want to. It's not fog. You don't have asthma. You don't have asthma. Uh-huh. No, you don't. Uh-huh. And my heart be hurting.
Huh? Your heart was beating.
No, my heart is hurting.
Your heart is hurting.
Yeah,
It'll go away. It'll go away in a few minutes. If it stays there, then that means you got severe indigestion. All right?
Still there.
You know, I've known Juan for about 2.5 years. And that's not enough to say I understand all the issues and I know where he's at with everything. But I think the more I know him, the more I realize how deep issues run in his personal life, his individual life, as well as his family's. His father passed away, died of AIDS. His mother currently has full-blown AIDS. She has cancer as well. And when he was 4 years old, he witnessed his aunt get shot and get killed in a bedroom in the house.
Is it that, or you just don't feel like playing? If you don't feel like playing, that's all right. I spoke to, guess who spoke to me on Friday? Miss Carrera.
Oh, yeah, I know. I was in detention.
You were in detention? Nah, it was more than detention.
No, I was suspended, yeah.
Why were you suspended?
Hmm?
Why were you suspended?
Because I was fighting with a girl.
You were fighting with a girl?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you're kidding me.
She come and call me a punk, and I call her back.
The girl?
Yeah.
You think you could have solved it in a different way?
Yeah.
Because Miss Carrera told me that wasn't the only time. And I think you know how to solve a problem. You know that if you get in trouble, that the best way to respond is not by hitting, especially a girl. You're hitting a girl. Do you hear me? You don't do that.
You know, there's a lot of anger. There is untruthfulness, you know, at times in which children like Juan and Juan himself, who at times can become habitual liars in order to defend who they are and or to get what they want. Where I'm probably getting to the point with him now, 2 years later, 2.5 years later, that he's beginning to talk about things. I didn't hear anything probably in the first 6 to 8 months of my relationship with him. He wouldn't talk, he wouldn't say anything. And so sometimes we would have long silent periods. But now he's beginning to talk a little bit about, you know, there's this kid bothering me in school, Ruben, and that I want you to talk to Ms. Carrera about. And so now he's getting more specific about issues.
Mm-hmm. How's your mom doing? Did you see her today? No? You see her yesterday?
She said that she had a little present for me.
She had a little what?
Present for me.
A little present for you?
I know it was a bike.
Huh?
'Cause I always wanted a bike.
You wanted a bike?
A Pacific.
Yeah. It'll be hard for your mom to get a bike, though. She probably has something else. You get worried about her? Yeah?
I want her to die.
No, I don't think she wants to either. You want to go see her after this? Say hi to her, see how she's doing?
Okay.
You didn't have to say that twice.
Much of what we know already about those 500 active matches seem to suggest that they differ in only one significant way from the run-of-the-mill mentoring matches, and that is that they're more intensive. They meet more often. They spend more time. They're there more in the community, and we hope and suspect at least that they're going to prove out to have that much more positive consequences.
What's my birthday present?
I'll give kids in my love. I'll give you your $5.
What's my birthday present?
I don't have money, puppy. I just give you the best that I gave you, my love, okay? You're my oldest baby.
I know his mother, Cynthia, has had a point in her life in which she's been trying to turn her stuff around and has been detoxed, if you will. But it's difficult because, you know, she'll go back, you know, to the inclinations and to going back to using drugs. And so he lives with his grandmother.
She sang happy birthday to him. He was happy. Yeah. Después jugamos soccer un poquito en jato ahí.
It's probably a much better situation for him, considering that his mother is in and out of the hospital. And at times it gets pretty erratic.
Yeah.
What happened to Juan's father? He died when Juan was...
Juan, it was like 2 years old. Because I was angry to him. I said, how come you're going to do this to me? Don't do it. I'm the mother of your son. And then if I die too, what going to be? You think that Juan is going to come out and get, you know, a nice life? I don't think so.
The environment doesn't bode well for his future. But I believe that he can live a different path, and I believe he can choose a different path. He's got some good social support that I think other children do not have, including a grandmother that's intervening, including a mentor like myself, including the congregation that's looking after him, and others in the neighborhood that know that we're trying to hold him accountable, and they step up as well. And, you know, he's out there a little too late. Someone screaming out the window, you know, you're not supposed to be out there. So there's hope. There's a lot of hope.
Of the 20 guys who started with Larry, only 5 have made it through the first phase of Teen Challenge.
Headed to Pennsylvania, to the mountain. That's what they call it, the second phase of Teen Challenge. I know I got the 8 months. I know that, but it's after the 8 months is what I'm kind of scared about and worried.
Larry and one other man are going to the mountain today with Mike Zello and his wife, Cindy. The other 3 men will travel tomorrow.
Did you bring the letter from your son?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did Cindy ever see that letter? Did you see it? Yep. Read it, Larry. Read it loud, Larry, so I can hear it.
It says, Dear Daddy, Mama read me your letters and told me how much that you miss me and love me. Daddy, I miss you and love you a lot. I'm ready to see you. Daddy, when you get better, can we go fishing and ride the go-karts when you get home? I like to play baseball. Daddy, don't cry because I love you and Jesus loves you too. I hope that I get to see you soon. Please get better. Write me soon. Love you, Josh. P.S. I say my prayers every night.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome letter. Right, yeah, every time I read.
It will.
great. And I think that Larry will try real hard here. And I think if he fits in, he'll make it. I think if something bad happens in the first 2 weeks, that he won't. Something with a staff member or something with a student. And I think he's probably capable of punching somebody and getting thrown off, you know. Good to see you, man. But I think he's overcome a lot. You know, he has a great opportunity here to get his GED, you know, to get his life together, to really get it together here. And I hope for his sake he does it, and his son's sake, because he knows that he needs to be here. He knows that he needs to finish Teen Challenge. He knows that.
Jesus, power in the name of Jesus. Unpressed days is Jesus, Savior and my life. Jesus, how I love the name. Jesus, how I love the name of Jesus.
Every social evil in American history that has been rectified by public policy has been rectified by leadership that came and inspiration that came from people of religious conviction in America. That was true of the abolitionist movement. It was true of the labor reform movement, the child labor reform movement, and of course in our time, the civil rights movement. The civil rights movement is inexplicable without both the black church and the white church.
Yeah. Now don't stay out too late now. Y'all know that, right? Y'all supposed to go in. What time y'all go in?
Well, I think what we're witnessing here really is a second civil rights movement. This civil rights movement is a civil rights movement of a different kind. It's more broad-based, it's multiracial, multi-ethnic, it's focused on the poor, it's focused on those who have been left behind despite the enormous, unprecedented prosperity of America over the past 30 or 40 years. So long as it remains a movement that is about having sacred places partner in order to serve civic purposes, I think it's a movement not only whose time has come already, but a movement whose greatest days are ahead of it. And I think at the end of the day, ye shall know them by their works.
Give me a hug, Madison. John, give me a hug, girl.
It remains an open question whether this faith-based movement will succeed in saving our inner cities, where so many have failed before them.
Take them rags off the head and you straight. Good looking, money.
We shall know them by their works indeed. Major funding